Hello, my name is John Kola, and my student number is 151938. And in this video, I'm going to talk about the Pendulum blueprints and the FlameSpout blueprint. So let's start with the Pendulum. So let's see here. These are basically things that are going to swing sideways. And the way I did it is I have two static meshes and collision box to make sure that it can hit and damage the player. And I put those below the scene, which is kind of here. And the reason I did that is so that the origin point is on top. And then you can actually easier rotate them as if you would have put, for example, the end or the staff at the middle, because then it will rotate around that axis and not around the top. So let's dive into here. So here's just standard damaging logic. We have an overlapping box that I showed you, the collider. It's going to check for a different actor, and it's going to apply damage to that actor, which in this case will be the player. So at begin play, I put in like a delay with a variable delay time, which is actually editable. So if you go over here, select one, you should actually be able to find it in the details one. Let me take this away. Here it is, delay time. So the reason why I did that is so that you can actually time the pendulums, so that you can actually duplicate pendulums and time them differently so that they won't swing in unison, or else they will. Then I used something I haven't actually used before, which is the timeline. Timelines work basically like some sort of animation and movement kind of blueprint, where you just set certain coordinates so that will actually go over that over time. So this is basically the logic. If you just double click it, you would have the same thing. So what I use for this is basically a float track, so it only needs one value for this. And after that, I just put in these dots. So if you can see, this dot is at 0 time and 0 value. So this is the starting point. After that, it will go 1 second later, it will be at value 1. And after that, it will go to the 0 value again at the 2 second timestamp. And here you can actually put the overall length. Make sure that this and the last point, this, is basically the same. If not, you will actually get the difference in time, where the blueprint will just do nothing and stand there. So just make sure that these are the same. I also made it loop that you can just click on here. So the reason I'm doing this is so that it loops nicely. If I took this last one away, where it actually goes back to this position again, then it would just go here, and when it will loop, it will actually teleport back again to this position, which isn't what we want. Another thing that I did is, you see these blue lines. If you right click on one of them and then select auto, what it does is it generates these blue lines, and it basically means that it will slow down a bit the closer it comes to these lines. So it gives the nice pendulum swing effect. So basically what you do is to activate, you put it in play, and then during the update you have to do some logic. So the pendulum sling is basically the value of this, which is also named here. Then we have two variables, there's start and end rotation, which again I put in editable, so you can just do most of the stuff to change the pendulums however you want. You can do in here and not actually in the blueprint itself. So you take the start and end rotation, put them in A to B, and then put the alpha of this so that it will make a nice so that will move nicely between these two values. And then you set relative rotation. So this is basically the way it knows, oh, I'm doing this kind of stuff and this stuff with this. So that they actually know what to do with these values. And then you make sure that it's the scene. If you pick any of these ones, it will go rotate around that axis, which isn't what we want. We want it from this one. And then if we test it out, turn around, you can actually see them swing. So they rotate around the origin axis, which is on top there. And if I go in, then I get damaged. And if I survive that, then I would have also been pushed, because the collider has overlap all, but the block itself actually still has a collision to block, so that will also still push people off. Next is the FlameSpout. The FlameSpout is basically something that after a certain amount of time just starts shooting flames on and off again. So what I did for this is, it's just a normal cube as base. And then I put a collider. And I put some particle systems in there to make sure that you can actually see the range of the flames of this collider actually. So on that collider, I basically, for the flame box, the collider, I basically check, is it colliding with the first person character, which is the player? If it does, apply damage to the player. So that's basically it for the damage part. So I turn that on and off again here. So at begin play, I set a timer for this event, Spout Flame, which is a custom event. And for the time, I just made variable fire time, so 5 seconds. So 5 seconds, it's going to turn on and deal damage. And after those 5 seconds, it's going to turn off for 5 seconds. And make sure that's set looping. So here you can see the flip-flop. So that's where it will turn on and off again. So the first time, 5 seconds, it's going to be on, it's going to damage, and after that, it's going to off. And actually, it's different, I think. Yeah, it's the other way around. So the first 5 seconds is going to be off, and the 5 seconds after that is going to be on and damage, and so on and so on. So we'll keep switching between the two. And then I just select the collision. So when it's on, it's going to overlap, which will basically trigger this one if the player is actually overlapping. And then I activate and deactivate the particle systems. Honestly, I'm kind of new with working with the particle systems in this way. There might be a better way. If I knew a bit more about particles, I also, instead of using 3 of these and just a default fire particle, I also just would have made my own, which is basically a wider version. I might also just have made these particle systems into their own blueprint and then interface it, so this would be a bit cleaner. But this basically does what it should be. What it should do. So for now, that's fine, I feel. So yeah, let's test it out. We have the pendulums here, and back there we have the FlameSpout. So you can see now it's off, and after 5 seconds, you can see it's activating. So this is basically the range, the maximum range of this FlameSpout. If I go on, it's going to turn it off right now. Now it's on. Now I'm burning and taking damage, and after a while I should die. And that's basically it for this video. Thank you for your time.